Alright, let's start. Hey, my name is Leo. I'm gonna review your game. I will just call you Black and White because I'm pretty sure that I'm not able to correctly pronounce your name, jonryuga. Anyway, thanks for uploading your game to Go Academy. And yeah, let's just start. Oh, I haven't mentioned my rank. At the moment I play is 1Q on KGS. Let's see if I will stay at that level or if I go back to 2Q. Um, yeah, but at the moment we want to look at your game. So you play as black. This is pretty standard. Yes, this is all fine. Sure. Here your opponent says that this is a mistake, but I think it's, if at all, then I would call this unusual. But it's just an okay move, especially with this Q16 stone already in place. I think it's just fine to play here. Your opponent splits, which is nice, and this is also a nice move because you put some pressure on this white stone, and he extends along the side, and here's your third line stone. So you allow your stone to naturally enclose the corner, which always is very much appreciated. Because you get this more or less for free, and still your opponent has to somehow continue to play here. So he plays these exchanges. Here you don't play this obvious move, which would also have been okay. But this I think is also fine. So you decide just to extend here, which is a valid choice from my perspective. Actually, I would have expected your opponent to just play here, because with this move, this group is more or less settled. And with this, he helps you build nice territory here and also create some more territory here. So this would not have been my preferred variation, but it's just okay. That's it. Well, the reason why you typically block here is that your opponent in this case can even jump here, right? So this is even more painful because it erases the whole corner. So you can threaten to cut, but your opponent can just connect, and like this, he can take the entire corner away from black. So this pushing is even a bit slow because actually white cannot cut here. This doesn't really work, right? So yes, you blocked, and your opponent continues here. Okay, this is not absolutely necessary. So if you just decide to play somewhere else, I don't know, maybe here, then your opponent can't really do a lot. So if he pushes here, that's just fine. Your stones are totally connected. He can also do something like that, but it just does not really work. So yes, he can do this, but now these stones are super weak, so you will be able to somehow attack that, and your corner group is alive. Or he could, yes, if you do not answer, he could try a cut like this, but again, it just doesn't work. So I think this would even be a nice opportunity for you to just play somewhere else, because this at the moment is not the biggest part of the board. So your group is relatively settled. Your opponent's group is definitely settled, even though there's kind of a weakness here in the very middle. But for the moment, it's both groups are just fine, and there's so much empty space on the board, so you would rather want to play somewhere else. But you answered locally, which is fine. This looks like an overplay to me, because your opponent, he can either just continue here, which is what he played in the game, or he could also directly aggressively cut here, right? I'm not sure if this is the right right time to do it, but he can like this, right? And now your stone is separated, and we don't like that, right? We want to have our stones connected. So for me, this is kind of an overplay. So if you want to build this lower side, then I think you can only play here or maybe here. Yeah, I think even this would be too much. So maybe something like this. This looks like an overplay. Your opponent plays Hane, and this is not the strongest move from my perspective for white. But it already asked the question, and this is absolute overplay for me. So I would even call this a mistake, and I think you do that again. So you should really watch out these double Hane. So in general, or in this case, it's not really double Hane, but in general, whenever you play Hane, you should first check whether the cut works or not. And in this case, even this cut almost works. So to me, this doesn't look like a bad fight for white, because this is just relatively strong for white, and I don't see a way to capture these two stones. So even this fight would be possible, but even easier would be a continuation like this, where he forces you to connect here and then just connects, and this is relatively painful, right? If your opponent plays something like this, we really don't like that. There are so many weaknesses here. So later he could do something like, I don't know, maybe this is, or probably this is not the best continuation, but even something like this just works for your opponent, right? So you could take back the entire corner or something like that. So we really don't want our opponent to cut us like this. So we should not leave this Atari for our opponent. This is too much. You just have to continue here, and this even fixes the issues I just showed. So now you can play something like that and cut the stone off, and it is almost captured. Okay, so I call this an overplay. He also plays, this now really is a double Hane, which I'm also not sure. I would probably, well, no, I would have cut immediately. So let's stop here. He just plays double Hane. Actually, you could use that. So whenever you see a situation like this where you can play Atari and force your opponent to create a bad shape like this, so this sets up an empty triangle, right? Here's the triangle, here's no stone, so this is an empty triangle, this is very bad shape. You should just take that. This was just a very nice exchange. This A for B was a very nice exchange for black. Because your opponent now, after you fixed your weakness, has to decide whether he wants to spend an extra move here to really capture this stone, which means that it is you to continue to play somewhere, maybe, oh no, that's maybe just like here, or maybe something like this to make some territory here. Or your opponent decides to just continue playing somewhere else, but then this stone is not at all dead, right? So you can just extend here, and this really creates problems for your opponent. So oftentimes, if you see an exchange like this, you can just play it because it will just give you a nice result, like in this situation. Now you decided to just push, to just extend, and your opponent pushes, and normally you have to extend again, especially due to the fact that pushing from behind, which is what your opponent just did, so he was one stone behind and he kept pushing, which means that you will be ahead again. This normally is bad for the one who pushes from behind, so this is why there's a proverb saying, do not push from behind. And especially in this situation, if you play somewhere else and your opponent has this move, which is, again, pretty painful, you can respond in such a way, which is, again, horrible shape. Here's the empty triangle again. And your opponent can even just continue to create pressure for these stones. They still only have 3 liberties. Or if you try something like this, then there's a double Hane, a double Atari with a move like this. which obviously is horrible for black. So we are only able to play something like this or this one, and both is very bad shape, and this stone is just very efficient because it more or less creates nice influence for this area, and black doesn't get anything. He just have to waste a move here. So we, instead of playing somewhere else, we really want to continue here. Which, by the way, sorry, one more comment, is a very typical thing. So whenever you have two stones like this attached to your opponent's stones, and especially if you already have one stone here at the so-called head of your group, then we really do not want to play our opponent another stone at B, because this leaves us with only 2 liberties, which is almost, our group is almost in Atari. So this is a very uncomfortable situation for our group. So we really almost always want to avoid a situation like this. So it's a very, very general thing. All right. In general, of course, the stone is very nice because it, on the one hand, reduces your opponent's territory and creates a very big framework here at the upper right. Okay, and you even extend that framework. So your opponent decides to invade, which is just natural. So you created this huge framework. Your opponent is more or less forced to invade, and you should now get some profit, right? You should find a good way to attack this stone and at the same time make some territory. So for example, play something like this. Maybe such a thing, I don't know. And that would create some territory here, and still your opponent might be attacked. But this is not what we played. Oh, okay, you attacked from this side. I would have chosen this one because it more or less immediately creates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 times 3, 20 points in the corner. It is almost impossible for your opponent to take away that area. And with this stone, this is not secure territory yet, right? So there are still invasion points here or here. But it is definitely a way to attack that stone. But it looks to me a bit easy for your opponent to play here, and if we protect the corner, then he can just play something like this, and it is a bit too easy for your opponent to escape towards the center. But yes, fine. Okay, he plays here. Okay, you block. Yeah, this is what I just showed. Yeah, and here's the double honey again, right? And as said, whenever you play this, you first have to make sure that that it works. So you have to check what happens if your opponent plays Atari, either here at A or at B. And in this situation, even playing Atari at A perfectly works for your opponent. And this is also what happened in the game. So you were forced to connect here, and your opponent just took this stone. And you even were not able to capture these 2 stones because they still have 2 liberties, so your opponent will be able to capture these stones. So yeah, A just works for your opponent, which means you should not have played Atari, but just extend it here. And if your opponent goes here, then maybe if you just play like this, your opponent is still not 100% alive. So he could spend another move here or he to really live. And this is even almost center. But still, I think I want to prevent my opponent from going that way. Okay, this doesn't work. No, this is the game. This was your move. I don't really like this one because it doesn't prevent your opponent from just continue to walk through your territory here. And actually this is what he should have done. Even if you capture the stone, it doesn't really hurt. And what does hurt is that there's no real territory left for black, right? So if your opponent, who's almost alive, if he's able to continue to play here, you will not get any points here in this area, which would be a very bad result for black. So I think this is the way better move, because now he cannot go here because you can just cut. And if he plays here, then black can completely seal white in and make all these points and create potential for more points here. Okay, but this is not what your opponent played. He just took this one and you blocked. Yes, this is nice. All right, this situation is done. It's not as good as it should have been for black, but it's still okay. Here you block from this side. All right, why not? At least it makes it hard for your opponent to live. He threatens to connect underneath, and I guess you... Oh no, you don't cut. Now you do. Okay, maybe this is just not good enough for him. Now you cut. And he has to move that way and escape. This threatens to take these 3 stones. Question is whether that's enough. So if he just jumps out, now he's almost escaped. And the question is whether it's enough for black to take these 3 stones. I don't think so. It's only 6 points here. It's more important to prevent your opponent from running away too easy. So I would rather just seal him in like this. Because if he plays moves like this, now there's an opportunity to really do a very serious cut. So if you, for example, cut here and manage to cut off all these stones, this is enough profit for black. But this is not. This is only 6 points. All right. Anyway, your opponent is greedy. He does not want to give you 6 points. He connects. And yeah, okay, this threatens to cut here. It's nice. And now you seal him in. That's very nice. And actually, I already checked out this situation, and the easiest way for black to continue is just keep pushing, right? And I guess what you read was that if you keep pushing like this, then your opponent will be able to capture all these stones, which obviously would be horrible. But still, I do like this variation, just that at this point black has to connect here, right, and make sure that his stones live. I don't think there's a way for white to escape. So he can do something like this, but it totally doesn't work. You can do the same thing, oh sorry. You can do the same thing again, but I don't see a way for white to escape here. So it's just impossible. So this would have been my preferred very easy variation. And yes, there are some complications, so white can do something like this, cut here, but it doesn't really work. But obviously these are things that you have to check before, because now these stones are separated and black is connected here. But these are things that you have to check up front. But I think, guess you checked the very first variation, found out that it did not work and decided to play something else. But this creates problems, as you see, because now you still try to surround white, but now there are too many weaknesses, right? Black can play, white can play Atari in 4 ways, which means that he will be easily able to create a double Atari. And this is what he did. So here's a double Atari, both stones are Atari, and white captures here. This is nice because it makes a false eye. And there's another false eye. So at this moment in time, white has 2 false eyes and 1 goatee eye, right? So at this moment, white is still dead. And the question is whether he can do anything against it. Okay. Yes, very nice. This is even easier, right? So this creates this tiger's mouth shape. And all your stones are connected, and white is just that, with 2 false eyes and 1 goatee eye. Like this, there is still some potential for any, I don't know, nasty shortage of liberties things. Yeah, but it doesn't really, this is the game, as you see. It doesn't work out for white. So, well done. You captured all these stones and the game is almost fine for black. So yes, white takes this very, very little profit here on the side. So these stones, these white stones are alive, and he captured these 2 single black stones. But yeah, still, this is a very good result for black. This is almost, how many stones are these? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. This is 35, there's almost 40 points of territory here in the middle. And then you have another 20 points here, so 60 points already on the bank. Plus all this influence, this looks like a really good game for black. Actually, I wanted to stop the review here because I thought the game looks really good for black, but I realized that white finally wins. So I really want to know, okay, why did white win this game? Did he find very nice moves, or did black make any major mistakes? Let's see. This is a wasted move, actually. So there's no chance for white to escape in that direction. And black is completely connected. So this is like passing. White tries to escape here, but it doesn't work. Okay, white now has 1 real eye, but still these 2 eyes are false. So no chance for white to live. And this is a bit painful, right? Because yes, this big black group is not alive yet, and black cannot make 2 eyes. What we can do probably is, can we play here? Does that somehow work? Can white cut? Not sure, not so sure. It's a bit complicated, right? Yeah, not sure if this works. So the question is, yes, do we have to play Ko now? Does white have any big Ko threat? This one threatens to connect these stones. This is not at all a Ko threat, is it? So if black just captures, what happens? White connects here, okay, but that doesn't really change a thing, because these stones already were alive, and this also already was alive. So these are, I don't know, 5 extra points maybe. I think you should just take at this point, but you don't. You play here. This is a Ko threat, yes. This answer is strange. I think white has to connect here, right? And now you wanted to take. I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. Because you decided not to defend, but also not to take. So why don't you just take here? If you do not prevent white from connecting. This was a bit confusing for me. Okay, but you decided that this is also a nice move, which is okay. And your opponent did not correct in the, defend in the right way, but played this, which means you can just, yes, cut here and take these stones. Now this big group is alive, and now you don't have to win the ko anymore. Well done. This, again, that's a wasted move, right? So there was no need to do that at this point in time. Not at all. You can instead just play a big move like this, which puts pressure on this stone, or just play here to prevent white from building anything big here because you made all these points. So you already wasted two moves, which is quite a lot. This is also, yeah, well, now he connects, but it's not big at all, as already mentioned. And white doesn't have to answer here, but he does. Because what happens if he does not answer but plays a big move instead, you can play here, which makes half a point, or maybe 1 point, because you might be able to also take this one. Yes, so these are quite big mistakes, but I guess you were both pretty exhausted after this big fight here. So you just took the simple, straightforward moves, and another move just wasted, because as said, you don't have to take the ko anymore. Yeah, if you play elsewhere, white can't do anything. So you can completely ignore this. There's nothing he can do. Okay, I think this already explains why your opponent still had a chance to win this game because of these major mistakes. But let's see. He connects here. Okay. Yes, you take this stone, which makes life even easier because now this group is also completely alive. This is not good, makes bad shape, empty triangle as you can see, and doesn't threat anything because, again, if you don't answer, there's still nothing, right? But you play the safe way, and now he takes the big move. Okay, that was a big one. And this is, again, passing. I don't see the meaning of this move at all. If your opponent doesn't answer, what happens? This doesn't work. This also doesn't work because you cannot play Atari here, right? It's self-Atari. There's nothing for black. Anyway, your opponent reacted, and now you take this upper corner, which is not the biggest part of the board. So for example, here is way more space empty, or you could prevent your opponent from building something big here, or you could just again play here to put pressure on this stone, but he took the corner. Okay. And help the opponent to create this territory without making any significant points, which is normally not a great idea. And here is another double honey, ta-da! And again, it doesn't work. Your opponent, I guess, cuts. Yes, Atari, you have to connect. And he takes like this. Yes. Yeah, please do not play this double honey without checking A, and in this case B didn't work. So without checking A in this case. Alright, your opponent did not take. Okay, that's also fine. I don't really like it. Taking is better because if he extends like this, then there's a move, a forcing move here. Now he has to take. And now you can do something like this. which is a bit annoying. I don't say it works immediately, but at least it leaves a lot of AGI opportunities for later. Okay, and you cut here. That's interesting. I like that move. Because it creates, it asks questions to your opponent. Yes, this sets up a double Atari. Oh, your opponent doesn't see it, and you take the double Atari. Very nice. And actually, there's quite some potential here. So if you continue like this, okay, your opponent might just take this stone, but now you can do something like that and escape with that group. So can your opponent do something? I don't think so. So this is annoying for your opponent. Or if he doesn't take but prevent you from escaping, then this is almost alive. He can prevent you from making a second eye, but then there's this nice, this nice ladder. So I really like this move here. Really, really hurts white. Okay, but you now play this big move. Alright, we like that. We got another almost 20 points here if we just defend. Which we don't. No, now we continue to play here. This is confusing for me. Besides besides the fact that this is the better move, why don't we just defend the territory? We spent these 3 moves to create extra territory here, and now we ignore and allow our opponent to jump in. I don't really get that. Because you see these 2 moves here, they only create another 4, maybe 5 points. But a move like this creates, I don't know, 10 points here, something like that. This is not good at all. Not necessary, right? So I think this is a relatively simple way to improve your play. So before playing a move like this, please think about, okay, what can my opponent do if I play somewhere else? Yes, he can go here, but this is not at all threatening anything, right? You can just honey, and he only has 2 liberties left, and you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the fact that it is not possible to prevent these groups from connecting. So there's nothing your opponent can do here, and this is just a wasted move. This is like passing. It's even worse than passing because it is -1 point. This is a major thing. All right. Okay. Okay, this is nice. I think I just want to connect here. This is the safe way. Your opponent can't do anything. He has to somehow defend his territory, and you erase quite some territory from your opponent. So this is just a nice result. I think still the game is good for black, isn't it? Well, yes, estimator said yes, but only 2.5 points. But I think it might be even a bit clearer because these points should not be white here. But we still have this thing, which is quite big. Oh. Okay. Maybe the game is even good for white already. Well, still I prefer this one locally, because now your opponent could cut here. Oh, and actually this is what happened in the game. And it will be pretty hard to save these 2 stones, right? I would even say it's almost impossible without any major mistakes from your opponent. Oh. This is really annoying, isn't it? We don't want to. You don't want our opponent to have this point here. So even though this looks like a Tsuji, like a nice trick, I don't think it actually is. I think the better way is to probably just give up these 2 stones and try to get some profit from them. Okay, what happened? This is just all that, right? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this looks like endgame. Normally this is nice endgame. In this situation, this is pretty big. So your opponent should have played this as one of the first things, because it is so painful to stop him from erasing all your territory. And then this is also big, and now one can play another big move like this. And I think now the game looks really good for white, right? Considering that these stones are that, now it's, yes, white plus 20. Well, he forgot to count some of these black points here, so it's maybe only white winning with 15 points, but still very good game for white. But let's see some last moves. Okay, we have these exchanges. This, yeah, okay, sure, it's Sente. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. Good job. Good fixing here. Yeah, now this doesn't work anymore. This is painful though. So this would be the normal way to do, and then, or no. I think this is also what you said in your comment. There's still one thing, right? There's still after fixing here, there's still this move, which is quite painful. Because your opponent has to connect here. Now this works, this one, does it work? Oh, it doesn't work immediately. If you start here, no, nothing. Oh, that means that it comes up later. Oh, which could mean that this was a pretty good move. So what happens? I see. We need this move. This one. This is a bad move. At this point, your opponent should just connect here, and then like this. This would be the proper sequence. This not only makes an empty triangle, which is bad shape, but this one even creates this issue that you now can threaten to cut here, and if black connects, then the sequence works. Does it? Still not really. Okay, what was it that you saw? You took this one and you said you should have played R5 instead of T1, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I guess this is the same result. Yeah, very same thing. Or did I miss something? R5. No, I don't think there's anything. Also, the order of moves doesn't really make a difference. So normally would be the best way to just start here, because it threatens your opponent to play here. But unfortunately, this is the best way, the good way to fix all the issues your opponent has, because now he still has the time to play here and defend these two stones. Well, no, I think there's nothing there. So what I said in the beginning, that this would be the right sequence, should still be true, and now he should fix this. And then the result would be white plus 7.5, which is very close to the actual result, which is, after playing some more exchanges, white plus 5.5. Okay, I hope you got some ideas. I think the major mistakes are, or let's say the two things that you should try to improve very soon. The one thing is this double Hane thing. So before playing double Hane, please always check, okay, what happens if my opponent plays Atari, either at A or B, and if one of these variations is good for your opponent, then you should not play Hane, but should just extend. And the other thing is that several times you just wasted moves, like so this is one very simple example. Nothing bad happens if white continues here locally, so black could instead just take a big move. And I will show you two more examples. So this is also like passing. Again, you can take a big move. White can't do anything. This doesn't hurt us at all. And here's another bad double Hane, because again you forgot to check A and your opponent took advantage. Alright, thanks for uploading your game, good luck for your next games, and bye bye.